TRIFED is an organization of the Government of India, Ministry of Tribal Affairs, and it works for promoting tribal enterprise and trade in areas where they're strong and skillful, which means crafts, handlooms, handicrafts, minor forest producers, collection, value addition and marketing, and basically it strives to promote trade of tribal products so that the benefits are transferred to the tribals. Optimizes the benefits for the tribals, their livelihoods, employment generation. So these are activities which TRIFED promotes. TRIFED promotes tribal commerce through various activities that it undertakes. One of it is to buy tribal products. About 26,000 types of products tribals produce for textiles, in jewelry, in wood, in metal, in terracotta, in woolens. You think of something and there is a tribal producer and a tribal unit which is producing it. So we buy these things and then at fair prices. The problem with tribals is that they produce excellent exotic items, but they cannot market it. They don't have access to large markets. So the middleman comes into the picture, buys it cheap from the tribal and sells it at 10 times or 20 times the price in big markets. So TRIFED is an organization which buys at high prices from the tribals, at reasonable market prices, which are linked to the market, and then it sells off with very low markup for its own self. So in the value chain, 70% of the value chain of a commodity then goes to the tribe. So this is for 26,000 types of things that TRIFED, through the TribesIndia brand, works for the tribal interest to promote commerce and promote trade. The second big thing, which is now more of a challenge for us to take up, is the marketing and value addition and collection of minor forest producers. About 50 items have been, minimum support price has been announced by the Government of India. Now the TRIFED's challenge is to take it to the Hard Bazaar, the tribal marketplace where tribal brings these commodities. As you know, again, this is sort of a predatory market of where middlemen buy at very low prices. In fact, there are instances where salt is bartered for chironji about 20 times the price. So a minimum support price has been announced for about 50 items, and the big challenge is to take it to 5,000 tribal hard bazaars where this will sell, and then to procure at the MSP, which is about 3-4 times the normal middleman price, then value add, which will add another 3-4 times to the raw material, and then market it through tribal groups and tribal collectives, so that the whole value chain, suppose for example say tamarind in the village hard bazaar will sell for, at the middleman's thing, 10 rupees a kg, 12 rupees a kg. The MSP has been announced at 31 rupees a kg. Now if you deseed a tamarind and take out the fiber, it will sell for about 100 to 120 rupees a kg, and it's a very simple operation which the tribal is master at doing. After that, if you do a little powdering it, a chutney and a tamarind sauce, spices, then it sells for 400 rupees a kg. So from 8 rupees to 400 rupees is the value chain, and if 70% of it goes to the tribal, we have succeeded in this business. But it is very challenging. It has to be a system that has to be set up through the district organizations, the Zilla Panchayat functionaries, the Gram Sabhas, and it has to be a tribal-led. It has to be a tribal-led movement. It cannot be just a simple scheme where government announces a minimum support price and things start happening. It will have to be a tribal-led movement where he is made aware of the pros and cons of the whole scheme, how he can add to his income, how he can do it, and what are the methods of doing it, and then if it will succeed when he takes the ownership, when the tribal community takes it as its own plan and runs it as its own plan. It leads it the tribal community leads it from the front. We from the government of India and the state governments will have to be facilitating this. So like in agriculture you have a minimum support price scheme, but announcing the minimum support price scheme doesn't make it happen. You have to have procurement centers, you have to have storage, you have to have godowning, you have to have transportation, you have to have then selling it off through the PDS and all. Similarly, the minimum support price will also have a similar dynamics, but it will have to be tribal led, and then only the benefits of this whole trade will go to the tribal. So this is the big challenge that we face, and if we can do this can be a game changer. 307 tribal districts, 5,000 hard bazaars, 27 states, and 5.5 crore tribal population will be benefited. You remember Amul, what Amul did in Gujarat? They started buying milk from cooperatives, and it's all history now. We don't need to talk about Amul. The world knows it. So what started as a milk procurement system, when value addition was added to it, it became a world movement and changed the whole complex village, simple middleman-led procurement and sales system to a cooperative-led and people's movement, which ultimately transformed the whole area. Similarly, this minor forest producers, we strongly believe, has the potential to transform the tribal economy by adding to the incomes to the tune of at least 3 to 4 times, but this will not happen in a day, like we all know. Easier said than done, but once it needs a lot of participation, it needs a lot of awareness generation, it needs a lot of skill transfers, it needs a lot of motivation at the state and the district level, at the central level, and when all these three forces join together, the tribal community takes it up, picks it up. There's no way it can be stopped then. So it's just a movement waiting to spark, ignite, and once it happens, it will roll, and there will be very little difficult to stop it. Because once benefits start getting to your hand, you taste blood, as you say, it will be very difficult to stop it. So we're trying to spark that, we're trying to ignite that spark all over the tribal areas, and there are excellent organizations which can do that. We're getting into MOUs with a lot of socially oriented organizations. Auroville is one, the Art of Living Foundation is one, the Ramakrishna Mission Ashram is the one, the Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences is another, and around 307 district collectors to sort of kickstart it in each of the districts. So we need a lot of good people to join this movement. We need a lot of good hard work from the facilitators in this movement, and we hope to take this to be, we strongly believe that this can be a game-changing exercise in the tribal economy and the tribal world. We have to realize that tribal development is not just providing free doles and free houses and free cycles and free anaj and free grains to the tribals. Well, this is important, we don't deny that this should be stopped, but we believe that if money is transferred to tribal through livelihoods generation, through employment generation in areas in which they are masters, like these are the handicrafts that they make, the forest producers that they bring from the jungles out to the markets. It's a monopoly trade. Nobody else can do that. Nobody else can do that. So the monopolist pays, he gets 10% of the value chain. That's the strategy. So it has to start from the bottoms up approach. If you have to benefit the tribal, the program has to start in the hamlet where the tribal lives. It has to be awareness generation, it has to be knowledge transfer. He has to be told that, look, the imli, the tamarind that you're selling for 8 rupees a kg, the minimum support price is 31 rupees a kg. Don't sell it for less than 31 rupees a kg. Now if you value add it for yourself, this 31 rupees becomes 120 rupees. So it's a simple process. Why don't you get organized into collectives and start doing it? So the holding power of because he has poor holding power, he has to dispose of whatever he has at whatever prices he is offered. So we need to build into the system a conscious activity of trade, and if he starts doing that trade, he benefits as any other trader does. So we have built in checks and balances. We have built in a risk management matrix. Like if you expect that all the 30,000 SAGs that we plan to build into the system succeed, it's not possible. We believe that 40% of them will not succeed. So there is an allowance for failure. The scheme has this very strong component that some of us will not succeed. So they will be handheld and resuscitated and provided alternative support rather than an inquiry as to why it has failed. So it's a complex mix, but to put it simply, it's a trade where tribal has the monopoly of gathering. If marketing and value addition can be added to that, his income will go 3 times. So this is the big challenge that we have to take up, and it will happen from the grassroots. It cannot happen from top down. It cannot be a scheme which is announced and it will happen on its own. It has not happened over the last 1,000 years. So how it can happen now? It can only happen when the tribal takes it up as his own program. We facilitate that and support him in his endeavor to rise up the ladder. We don't want to change his systems. We don't want to change his style. We don't want to change his place of where he lives. But we want to give more. We want to empower him to earn what is rightfully his in the value chain.
Now, coming back to some numbers,
yes.
In terms of sales for the last year.
Yes.
And if you could also...
Yes, TRIFED is like in a turnaround mode, in an expansion mode, in a good team. Fortunately, the time for TRIFED to expand has come now. We strongly believe. So starting, it's been a magical increases, which only tells us the huge potential that is available in the tribal commerce. We've got about 376% increase in our procurement over 1 year or 2 years, and almost 175% increase in sales. So from a 10 crore enterprise, this has gone up to around a 50 crore enterprise. And if you add the minor forest produced thing, this can be a 1,000 crore enterprise. So we have planned it. The ministry, the government of India, the finance, the expenditure, the cogs that need to be moved in all these have been activated. And I'm sure over the next 2-3 years, this is going to be a 1,000 crore enterprise for benefiting the tribal, and we hope that 70% of it goes to tribals. TribesIndia has been trying to expand its sales network, not for its own self, but for the tribal artisans. We have an empaneled list of almost 1 lakh artisans, small household enterprises, or maybe 50 people, 20 people, 30 people enterprises, from whom we buy and sell. Now these 1 lakh people, while we buy whatever they produce and we try and sell that, we are trying to invite them to exhibitions and give them access to large markets. Now they produce, say in a jungle of Bastar in Kondagaon, deep inside Kondagaon. Now that tribal household doesn't have access to a market in Delhi. It will be impossible for our tribal household from Dantewada producing exotic dokra and all prints textile to come to Delhi Heart or to come to Delhi and find a 10 by 10 square feet place to sell. So we have created this system of Adi Mahotsavs, Adivasi Mahotsavs, where we invite our tribal artisans to big markets like all state capitals and tier 1 and tier 2 towns of each states. We organize about 200 mini Adi Mahotsavs, in the medium towns, and about 17 Adi Mahotsavs in the capitals of state capitals, and sold almost 30-40 crores for the tribals. It is entirely there. We pay for their transport, lodging, boarding, and we provide them free stalls where they sell their things, and almost 50,000 tribals have been given market access, where they have sold almost 30 to 40 crores worth of things. At Delhi, the Vice President inaugurated this function some time back, and he asked some of the tribals कि भाई आप इतने दूर रहते हैं, दिल्ली या यहाँ पर रहने वहने में कोई तकलीफ तो नहीं हुई, आप अपने घर वापस जाना चाहेंगे? तो one of them replied कि सर हमने जो 15 दिन में यहाँ बिक्री की है वो 2 साल में शायद अपने गांव में हम बिक्री नहीं कर पाते और हम इतने खुश हैं. And then all of them broke into a dance. It was an impromptu dance that they started around the vice president, and then the vice president said that this must be expanded to the whole country, this Adi Mahotsav concept, and now we are working on it to take it to all cities and all towns where tribals are invited with their exotic things that they produce, and it sells and sells very well. In fact, all city dwellers lap it up. We've had it Delhi, the Delhi Heart. We are having one in Pondicherry. It's going extremely well. It's packed. It's almost a packed house every day. And we've had it in Bhubaneswar, we've had it in Ranchi, we've had it in Patna, we've had it in Bhopal, we've had it in Shimla, Chandigarh, in the northeast, all the northeast states, capitals of northeast states. So it gives the opening to our tribal artists who stay in villages and small hamlets to come to big markets and sell, which otherwise is impossible for them to even think of coming. So we facilitate the transport, put lodging, boarding, and we give the entire sales goes back to the tribal artisan. To get a team to deliver and to sink it deep into the institutional, as an institutional change, you see, is resisted. Always, it's a natural human tendency. So we need to, if we want to get to about 10 lakh artisans from the present 1 lakh, it has to be digital. It has to be a completely digital world. Manually, we couldn't manage this kind of accounts. So we are transferring the entire activity of TRIFED and TribesIndia to a digital platform, to IT-led digital platform. So that is one challenge that we need to really and successfully meet. The second is to raise resources of this kind of expansion. So we need another 500-600 crores to do the minor forest produce thing, another 200-300 crores to do the retail expansion of retail trade, opening up new. We are around 100 retail outlets in the country. We want to do another 100 this year, next another 100. So these are all, they need all money. Then they all need money. So a lot of funding from the government, obviously. Government funds most of it. But we are also looking for the corporate social responsibility funds. So about 100 crores is we are trying to raise from the corporate social, the public sector units, the private sector enterprises, who are the corporate sector as per the CSR Act that we have. And thankfully, it has started trickling in around, we have already mobilized around 20 crores from the corporate sector, the public sector, and the Bharat Petroleum, Indian Oil Corporation, Coal India Limited, ONGC, they've shown great interest. So the government funding, people's participation, bank loans and funding, and corporate social funding. So we plan to make it a kitty of around 1,000 crores to promote tribal trade and tribal commerce, and turn tribals into entrepreneurs and into leaders who are really the most skilled people. We think that we need to teach tribals into doing a lot of things. If you get into the tribal world, you'll be amazed at how much you can learn from them. The skills that they have, the hard work that they do, the quantity, the honesty, the dignity with which they live, and their it's a completely different world. And once you get into the tribal ethos, the tribal system, you will realize that you're a small little dot in this tribal world, and you need to learn so much. You go there, look, I have come here, and I'll tell him what to do, and he'll then grow, and then tribal will change. You'll be completely amazed to know that so much is there to learn from the tribal. And then if you facilitate that skill, the tribal will benefit. If you want to turn a tribal into a pump mechanic or a television mechanic or or some sort of a fitter or a welder, he'll be there, he'll sit with you, offer you a cup of tea and offer you a cup of mahua, maybe if you're friendly. But after 5 days, he'll disappear back into the jungle. You'll not find him again. But if you do things that he likes and he's been doing it for generations, he'll adopt you. He'll treat you as one. And then we'll listen to what he thinks is good. If we think that we can teach him and turn him around, it's impossible. So what he's been doing through generations, he's been living in that jungle, and people think that tribal, this ye ko hatao, encroach, ye falana. Jungles have survived only where tribals are there. You look at the whole jungle space in the country. Only where tribals are existing, still jungles have survived. So it's a symbiotic relationship. You promote the tribals, you promote the environment, you promote the green concept that we have. So it's a very symbiotic relationship, and TRIFED is working from this angle, and then fit into that system facilitation which will turn the value chain from the clutches of the middlemen. The trade is not that there's no trade going on here, there's plenty of trade going on here. But in the value chain, the tribal is getting 10% only of what he owns rightfully as his private, it is his property. So the owner getting 10% of the benefit of that property, that's the big challenge. If you said, how do we address this, and how do we, from 10% to 70% is the big challenge, and it has to be a movement. It cannot be 2 people, 10 people, 20 people talking about it. The whole country will have to talk about it, and if it's a good thing, I expect that very soon this Vandhan is, as we call it, should be a big movement in the country and should be the next big thing for the country to happen. You see, having embarked on a very ambitious program of tribal empowerment in tribal, we strongly realized that it cannot be done alone. We need partners, strong partners who have similar ideas, who have similar thoughts. So we have entered into partnerships with a lot of good organizations and who are working in the same areas, who have similar thoughts. I can tell you a lot of public sector undertakings, the Bharat Petroleum Company is partnering us. Auroville, we have entered into, the Auroville Foundation is a strong organ, and Ornico is a company within Auroville which is helping us in a lot of IT related and technology related retail trade, and we are trying to set up a portal for retail trade of tribal products, and we are into partnership with Ornico to do that. We are trying to build in a TribesIndia.com and a mobile handled platform where all this trade can happen. So Ornico is a strong partner there, and we are looking for partners who will have a interest, not only passion, who have interest not by money but by passion. And so the social sector has money, there is no shortage of money, but what is lacking at times is passion and the spirit to continue, because it's a tough challenge. So we're looking for good organizations, and I'm very happy that we are getting partnerships, and long enduring partnerships which will take this program for institutionalize it. The deep roots will go deeper with strong partners, and we need to work on this very strongly.